Grief, it's a journey. It's not a destination. It changes us, it challenges us, and sometimes it even breaks us. But through conversation, community, and understanding, we find the strength to heal. This is Unwrapping the Gift of Grief, the space where we can listen, heal, and grow while learning to navigate life after loss. Let's begin to unwrap.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Unwrapping the Gift of Grief. This is our episode for March. As stated before, I'm only doing one episode a month. So we're back tonight with my co-host, my guest co-host. He's always on with me, and I could not do this show without him. So I'm going to bring on now Jason Madison. Hey, Jay.
Hey, what's going on? You had to use my whole government name, huh?
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
you're
so
good.
sorry. So, Jay, tonight we're talking about the cost of settling and when comfort becomes a cage. Before every episode, we don't do anything without praying. So, Jay, if you can you pray us in, and then we're going to kick this episode off.
Oh, will do. God, we thank you so much for your love, grace, and mercy. We ask you now, God, to allow us to be your vessels tonight. Give us the word and the wisdom to speak clearly to those that are listening. We open our minds and our mouths and our actions to you, God. We love you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So as I stated, this episode is about settling. And tonight I'm going to be speaking from personal experiences, and Jay, well, he always speaks from personal experiences. So this is no shade to anyone. This is about us and how we broke free from settling. So I want everybody to tune in, tap in, get you a drink, and let's go, because, settling is always not about a relationship. I mean, have you ever felt like you were stuck in a job that you truly did not enjoy, or you were living a life that brought you no type of meaning? With all of that being said, settling it kind of bring a silent grief, and that's something that we don't communicate about. What you think, Jay?
That's definitely a silent grief, because hiding in the shadows of settling. That's pretty good there. I need to write that down. Hiding in the shadows of settling. What happens is you've told, or you've shown the world with your actions that I'm good here. You show the world that. However, living in that choice is a different thing.
Absolutely.
Whether it's living in a relationship, marriage, job, whatever, because especially with the social media, and we'll dive into this later. But one of the things social media, how social media hurts us, is that we present a new chapter in our life without vetting the chapter in our lives. So everybody thinks, oh, this person is new, they good, oh, they in a relationship, da. But it's a new relationship, it's a new job, it's a new this, it's a new that.
Yes.
But in reality, behind closed doors is something else. So we'll dive into that. We'll dig deeper into that later on.
Yes, we will. And let's start with the big question of tonight's episode. Why do we settle? For me, sometimes I realize I've settled out of fear, because change is very uncomfortable, right? And not knowing what to expect, it causes me to be hesitant of moving forward. And it's easier to stay in a familiar place than to step into an unfamiliar blessing, right? Because believe it or not, once you break free from settling, there are so many things on the other side that will bless your life. You'll begin to understand your purpose, walk into your purpose, gain your favor. Because you can't have some things that God has promised you until you break free from the thing that you're not supposed to be attached to. Other
I
times,
believe that there is.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go, no, you go ahead.
I believe that there is the King James. I'll put it that way. The King
Hmm.
James says there's a time and a place for everything, and I believe that there is a time and a space that we have to settle. And the reason why I say that is because there is a lesson in settling.
If there is.
Your greatest lesson in life will come from failure, not from a book, not from sitting in a class, not from listening to some. Your greatest lesson in life is going to come from failure.
Yes.
Settling teaches a valuable lesson, and that lesson is, how do I vet anything that comes to me?
Yes.
I got to vet, because when I settle, I did not vet it. I said, oh, this must be it. I allow it in my life and I roll with it, thinking, well, let's go. The question is, why do we settle? Why do we settle? We settle for because of several different things. One is the way we are taught in church. I know everybody just looked at me crazy. Here's what I mean.
Come on. I need to hear this.
The church, the church tells us, you'll know it when you see it. Trust God. Your man or your Boaz or your Ruth is on the way. You'll know it when you see it. However, the church did not teach you how to not self-sabotage yourself.
Ooh, that's good.
Because we self-sabotage ourselves, because the church has told us, tell God what you want and be direct, make it clear, make it plain. God, I want him 6 feet tall. God, I want her to look like this. God, I want this, and da. Instead of saying, and the church has taught us that. The church has taught us, tell God what you want, and God is going to give you the desires of your heart. The problem is our heart is messed up. If you want to know the bottom line of why we settle, the bottom line is our heart is not right. The reason why David ended up becoming as blessed as he did later on in life is because his heart got right. God said, he has a heart after me. The word says that man looks on the outside. However, Yahweh says, I look at your heart.
It's your heart.
So the reason why we settle the way we settle is because our heart is not right. It indicates that our heart is selfish for the wrong reason, and so many wrong reasons. The church, the single ministry. Let me lay this in the lap of the single ministry. That's why I don't do single ministry.
Oh Lord,
that's why I can't stand single ministry. I can't stand single ministry because single ministry is teaching folks wrong. What you're supposed to say, instead of saying, instead of them teaching, um, um, uh, to ask for somebody, God, who do you want me to have? Who is going to enhance
Mm.
my life as you designed for me to be? But
Mhm.
the church and the single ministry has taught, ask God what you want. You want a 6 feet tall, dark, light skinned, da 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 da. Many people are praying for cruise ships when in reality God is trying to give you a sailboat where it's just two of y'all.
Hmm. Hmm. Well,
Many of us,
well, now.
many of us are attaching ourselves to community property.
Ooh, I'm not doing that with you tonight. I'm not doing that with you
Many of,
tonight.
but it's what you asked for. You
But
you settled for your own selfishness. Let's go ahead and clear this air then. Let's go ahead and
let
clear
me
this.
ask
I'm
you
gonna
this.
go. I
You
I
just said
I
something,
I
right?
I suppose I know in radio, when I did radio broadcast at school, they taught me you're supposed to drag this thing out. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to take this straight to the head. The
Well,
reason
come on.
why we settle is because of selfishness. Because we only want what's best for us. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. In
That's what you're supposed to
reality,
do.
you actually want what's best for what the creator has designed you to be. It aches me. It works my nerve when women say he got to be 6 feet tall, but you 4'1".
You can't even reach them. You can.
And why are you trying to mess up this man's legacy by producing big kids? You stunting your kid. I went too far. I went too far.
You're crazy. Okay. I
The
want to go back
reality
to that.
is, go ahead, roll with it.
I want you to go back to that. We attach ourselves to community property, right? Do you think
Okay.
those who attach themselves to community property, do you think that's a inner issue or self-worth issue or self-doubt issue that they're dealing with?
I honestly, I don't think so. I think it's um they have designed this image of a person that they want in their life
Mm-hmm.
without understanding that image is also connected to other people.
Mm.
Here's what I mean by that. Here's what I mean by that. Um, from a female's point of view, oh, he has to be a high value man, this tall, making this much money, doing this, this, and this. Well, that's community property because a whole bunch of women are saying, I want him to be a high value man, this tall, making this amount of money, and this, and this. That's called community property. Everybody is asking for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a general statement. But when you settle, here's how we settle. It, because when you vet what you're looking for, and no matter what it is, job, relationships, when you pray that type of prayer, you pray the prayer that allows people to get on a cruise ship. When you get on a cruise ship, it's thousands of people on this cruise ship, this one particular cruise ship. And you all are going to the exact same thing. You all are going to be able to be exposed to the exact same experiences. But however, if you pray a prayer that minimizes, ain't too many people can get on this boat.
Mm.
It's a sailboat. Because, Kate, watch this. I'm headed in a direction. I'm headed in a certain direction. But because it's only me and somebody else, that person has to know what they're doing and where they're going and how to help me get to where I need to be.
Yes,
In other
that's
words,
true.
on a sailboat, on a sailboat, you got to put in work. On a cruise ship, you just got to go eat.
Mm,
So we sit back and wonder, how did I get here? It's because you asked for what everybody else was asking for.
that's true.
You
Yes,
you you base
absolutely.
your dreams, your hopes, and your desires off of what everybody else wanted. If you are
But
a preacher, if you are a preacher, you should be praying for somebody that know how to pray. You should be asking for somebody that knows how to challenge you in the word. You should have somebody that is willing to sit there, and when it's time for you to write a sermon, you can bounce ideas off of. If you are a songwriter, you should be able to have somebody connected to you in a relationship that knows how to play the keyboard,
yes,
that has a good
yes,
ear in notes. Baby, that
mhm,
don't sound right. But what we do is
that's true.
we sit there and ask for we ask God for something that is not attached to who God has designed us to be. And we
And
wonder right there.
that's what causes the silent grief in settling because we're attached to
Let's
something.
stay right here. I want to go. I want to go to the grief inside, but let's stay right here.
Go ahead.
When it comes to dealing with settling, your initial question is, why do we settle?
Why do we settle?
To everyone that's listening to this, that feel that, yeah, this subject topic is touching me, I'm going to change one word in that question so it can make it more personable and not outwardly, but you can look inward. Why did
Mhm.
I settle?
Why did I settle?
Why did
And I
I settle?
writing out this format, and I sent this format to you, I think, last week. And I have
Hmm.
been pondering on that exact question. Why did I settle? And at the I can speak across the board because I've settled in a few aspects of my life, right? Whether it was a job, I worked for this company for 14 years. I settled on this company and stayed so long because one, I was comfortable. Two, it paid me just enough to get by. Three, my children were small at the time, and I did not want to be gone from home for a long time. So I settled. And then I had that aha moment that,
Mm,
oh, I've mastered this and I'm no longer in this place. This no longer makes me happy. I no longer like this thing that I'm doing. I need to challenge myself to do better. And I walked
I
away to a career
mm, mm.
that
Um,
blesses me and fulfills me
right, right,
and
right,
gives me what I need. Because that
right,
right now would not would not fulfill me at 46 years old. That job I worked for 14 years, that will not fulfill me right now as this Crystal.
right, right.
I need it more. So that's one aspect of why I settled in a career, but relationships, oh boy, I settled time and time and time again in relationships out of fear of being called to my higher self. Because I knew if I got with a certain person, that would have made me have to grow up. And I wasn't ready to grow up. So I
Right.
stayed on a comfortable level. I stayed because it was just the thing to do. I knew that person would be there. You know what I'm saying? You move on to the
Mm-hmm.
next, you don't know what's going to come along with that. So it's a lot of reasons why
Well,
again, y'all,
let's
I
let
said tonight is personal. Why I settled.
well let's
Go
dive
ahead,
in some
Jay.
of the topic. Let's dive
Go
into
ahead.
some of the topics of why we settle. You already said yours was, if you give me one phrase that you would use
Why
of
did I
why you
settle?
settled for that
I
job.
settled for that job at the time because it allowed me to be in a comfortable space in my home with my children, and it didn't require much of me.
So that's one reason. Well, actually
Mm-hmm.
two reasons. So I've been married 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
and my last 2 marriages was solely based on what the church told me.
Mm.
As a minister, as a preacher, I was supposed to have a wife. I'm not supposed to be out here. So I didn't vet. But if she, the two that I chose, and it's different reasons, um, decided to marry, then my final decision in being in a relationship is for ministry purposes only.
Mm.
I only got in those
Mm.
relationships, and both of them ended in horribly, horribly. And I'm sitting like, and then now I'm questioning my faith.
Mm.
I'm questioning, did I hear God? All because I base my decision, I decide to settle off what other folks told me I supposed
Oh.
to be.
Hmm.
I settled, I literally settled based off what other people told me I supposed to be or what I supposed to be doing. And I did not, it helped me in the long run. That's why it's hard for me to be in a relationship now. I got a vet.
Gotta vet. You have to vet. You have
So
to vet.
another reason is because I'm doing what the church or what other folks, people end up not in relationship and
Mm-hmm.
settling on being alone based off what other folks said.
What other folks say.
Oh,
You so
you don't need that man. Don't need to be. You don't need that no man like that. You don't need no woman like that. Da 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 da. And they in your ear, and you decide to settle for being single
mm-hmm.
based off what other folks said.
Based off what other folks. And you know what, Jay? It's amazing how we settle based on what our families say as well.
Man,
You better not leave that man. You ain't gonna find nobody like him.
and he
You
knocking
better
you
not see
upside your
no
head.
woman, better not see that woman, and you going through hell at home. But I better not leave this man because he works a job. He makes good money. He seems mannerable
To them, to
to
them,
them. But at
and they ain't living in
home,
the house with you.
exactly. But at home, he's disrespectful. He's mentally abusive. He's verbally abusive. But you want me to stay with him. But then again, that's where it comes in the settling because we have to put on our face when we get around other people. Everything is okay. Our world is
I'm,
great over here in our home.
uh,
So yeah, Jay, it's
so
child, don't
so
make me cry
let,
tonight.
let me ask you this question then. Let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
I don't think that was a part of it, but of our dialogue. But I'll shift it this way.
Go ahead.
What were or what is the consequences of settling from an individual's point of view. What is I'll start by saying this. A large part of settling, settling will usher you into mental illness.
Mm. That's
Say
what I
that
was gonna
again.
go part of mine.
A large part of when we settle, it holds the door for us
Mm-hmm.
towards mental illness, depression,
You're right.
anxiety, suicidal tendencies, all because we settled. It causes you. I'll say this, and I'm gonna let you go and let you have that version of that topic. It also would cause, especially if you're religious. Yeah, religious. It would cause you to question your faith.
That's so
Because I
true.
know for sure I questioned my faith based off me settling. God didn't have nothing to do with it. He ain't have nothing to do with me making this choice to settle for this.
I'm trying to find a pen.
When
Go ahead, 'cause-
God has placed us in a position, one thing God does not do is step in front of your desires. He will say, hold up,
Mm-hmm.
chill out for a minute.
Yeah.
Wait, slow your roll. He'll do that. Slow your roll. But when you say, nah, this is what I want, God's going to say,
Okay. Okay. Since this is what you want, I'm gonna let you have it.
I'm going to let you
And
have
what
it.
comes along with that? Because I'm trying to
Bruh.
protect you from that. But this is what you want. And you're not hearing my voice.
Now, I'm going to say this. Well, Grandma, God don't say this because people get offended when I say God say stuff like this. I'm going to say what Grandmama used to say. Grandmama
Go
say,
ahead.
I'm going to give you the ass whooping that you're asking for.
Mm.
At some point, God says, okay, this what you want? This what you want?
You're right.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's it right there. When Israel wanted a king, because everybody else wanted a king, God kept saying, no, you don't need no king. I got you. But they got a king, and they got a king, and they got this, and they got that. No, I got you. Then God finally said, you know what? You want a king? Go get him.
Yep.
The last thing we want in life is for God to say, okay,
Yep.
don't get what you want.
Don't get what you want.
And
And let me tell you.
I know personally, I've been in that seat.
Mm-hmm. Me
When
too.
God said, okay, Jason, I tried to help you out as much as possible. I tried to direct you over here, but you kept looking this way and you kept wanting this particular thing. You kept wanting this. And okay, fine. Go ahead.
Yep. Yep. And
And
those
you will find
consequences,
yourself in a world of trouble.
you'll find yourself in a world of trouble. And Jay, those consequences, I had to get a pen because I mean, when you asked me that, I just wanted to start writing some stuff down of how it impacted me. And I'm quite sure I'm not the only one that's going through that.
Let me ask you this question. That's me. I'm
You
sorry.
got feedback coming back.
That was me. I was putting on your page. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, it affects you in every aspect of your life, and you started with the mental and emotional exhaustion, grief. I mean, I'm sorry, that it brings that type of grief, but that's what settling brings, because it brings that grief onto your life. it brings along loss of self-worth. You forget who you are and whose you are. It brings on regret. You get into the what ifs. And that's one of the hardest parts of settling and looking back on what you settled on and saying, what if I would have ended that thing when I knew I shouldn't have been in it? How far would my life have grown if I would have walked away? You said about the stress and anxiety, that's going to peak at its highest level when you're settling.
You better believe that. You better believe that.
It's going to peak. Staying in an unfulfilling situation, baby, that thing gonna lead to chronic stress, depression, and anxiety. And if you don't know what that feels like, I don't ever want you to know what that feels like. It also will lead to missed opportunities of growth within yourself, right? Because you down yourself so much for that job, that person, that you sit on your gifts, you sit on opportunities. So you don't have a place to allow your wings to spread and soar to your highest peak because you're taking a back seat to somebody else. That's one of the consequences. Go ahead.
I want to say, first of all, Miss Edwards, that's on your line, that's on the chat room. Thank you so much for being on. And Keith said, I'm living in this very moment. And Keith, let me tell you something. The reason why you're on here is because what we've lived, what Crystal and I have lived in real life, is so that you won't bump your head like we bumped our head.
Yes.
So if you want to learn something, stay on, listen to what we have to say, and learn something from it. But when we find ourselves in a situation where we have settled, our number one question should be, how did I get here? Why did I settle? How did I get to this very moment? And you have to be very, very, very honest with yourself and stop doing this, pointing your finger at other folks. Well, they did this and she did this and he did this and they did this, instead of saying, I made a bad choice.
Acknowledge your you.
It was me. I tell people all the time. I said sometimes when it comes to realizing what you did wrong in a relationship, sometimes your choice is, you may not cuss the person, you may not hit the person. Maybe your choice was, I stayed too long. Maybe the bad decision you made was even getting in the relationship. Sometimes we have to start right there, because God knows I've been in relationships that I know God told me, don't do that.
Shouldn't even been in it. Shouldn't have been in it.
And I heard him clear. Don't you do that. He showed me all the red flags. Don't do that.
And you went right ahead and ignored them, and so did I.
And gave explanations of why they were the way they were. So my job is to help them out.
Yep. Yes. You are absolutely correct, Jay.
So sometimes you settle because you made a bad decision when God was telling you, don't even go there.
Yep.
Don't even entertain that. But no, that person had everything with these eyes right here.
Yep.
That we wanted.
And we miss looking here.
We didn't let this eyes look.
Nope. We chose with our eyes. We chose with lust. And we ended up with a life of hell.
And so now we're digging ourselves out of this hole because we settled.
We settled. We settle.
No matter what
Yeah.
the reason is, no matter what the reason of the original question, why do we settle? Or why did I settle? Now, because we settle, we find ourselves digging ourselves out of a hole.
Yeah.
And guess what? It don't happen overnight. Getting out this hole don't happen.
No, it does not. No, it takes
It don't.
time. It takes
It takes,
time. It takes time.
and we won't be ready for the next job, the next relationship, the next whatever.
Yep.
Until we clear this out of our heart.
Until you clear. Yeah, you have to heal. You have
Because
to heal
if
before
I
you
get
get to
in
the next
another
step.
relationship, job, love, whatever, if I get in another relationship and I have not cleared myself from the other, all I'm doing is bringing more foolishness, because I'm going to
Yes.
attach that next relationship to the same
To
foolishness
them.
that I got
And
now.
I got the same baggage. And then you're gonna look up and be like, oh, it's me. I need to do some work.
And let me tell you,
Deal.
you want to say that early on. I'm going to help everybody that's listening in. The statement that she just made, what Crystal just made, oh, it's me. You want to make that statement early on.
Yep.
Because what will happen is, if you don't make it early on, you're going to bring this person, you're going to bring that person, you're going to bring that situation, you're going to bring that situation, you're going to bring this, and you're going to bring that, you're going to be that. And then finally you say, oh, wait a minute, it's me.
It's me.
But guess what? Because you waited so long to say, oh, it's me, now you have to deal with all of those
All of
situations.
all of those situations. And here's
You're going
the
to have
thing,
to
right?
unpack.
Here's the thing, right? And that same person that has to realize, oh, it's me, that's the same person that's asking that person to be my peace. Baby, I need you to be my peace. Baby, I can't be your peace because you full of hell. You got all this
chaos.
other stuff going on.
You
gotta
full of
get
chaos.
rid of it. You gotta take some of them layers off, baby. You gotta shed some stuff.
And let's go there then. Let's drive down that lane, since you took us to side street GPS and the GPS wasn't taking us down. But since you don't took us down this, that's why when people say, oh, I'm looking for somebody to help me break down these bricks in my life or unpack my baggage, baby, that ain't my damn job.
That's self-work. That's you work.
Before you get in a relationship, you got to deal with that.
Yes.
I don't want to have to deal with your frustrations and your anger, because when you are unpacking your bag, let me help everybody out that's listening. When you finally get to a place where you undoing your baggage or removing the bricks off the wall you done built, you are going to deal with anger. You are going to deal with hate, because you are going to have to relive some of those things in order to deal with. And if you have another person in your life, watch this, instead of you dealing with it with yourself, you take that anger and that upsetness and put it on them.
On them, yes.
And now you're angry with them and yelling at them, and they ain't have shit, nothing. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You know how we do.
They ain't have shit to do with it.
Nope.
But you decide, I'm ready to be in love. I want to be loved. But you ain't ready to love.
You're not ready to love. You don't even love you. You don't even have the capacity to understand what love is.
Let's go biblical then. Let's go biblical. The Bible says, love others as you love yourself. The reason why you are not loving others right is because you're not loving yourself right.
Right. It's toxic. So that's how you end up in toxic.
If you're mistreating yourself, you're mistreating the person connected to you.
That's so true. That is true.
I often preach and said that's the one Bible verse that everybody is doing right. Everybody
Mm,
is loving others as they love it. Because if you love yourself the right way, you're going to love other people the right way. If you're not
mm-hmm.
loving, if you half-ass loving yourself, you're going to half-ass love other people.
Yep. Yep. That's so true. And not on and with half ass, because I'm gonna use your word, half ass loving somebody else, that can cause burnout in your partner. And that's that wake up that partner has, and that's the wake up that I had. Like one day I just woke up and be like, what I was like, I don't even like you. Now I love you, but I don't like you. And when that like turns off, that light comes on. Oh, I gotta get my shit together. Because I stayed in this shit too long and this ain't me. I have lived a life that is no longer comfortable for me. I felt like I was trapped in a situation and I was a stranger to it, if that makes sense. That I was no longer that crystal that I was before said person. So
You got me
go ahead.
wanting to ask this question to you.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Because you know I'm an open book.
Why do we stay in settled situations?
Did you
I
do
know
you
why
want me
I
to
did.
say why we or why did I?
Why did I? So every time we say we're actually talking I.
Okay.
I know why I did. But why did you stay in a situation when you realized, damn, I settled?
Because
I didn't.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. You're right.
I stayed because I felt like I owed it to him to stay because he had been through by my side through some very tough times. I stayed out of fear, because I was financially stressed and I thought I needed said person to carry me over. I stayed out of fear of not having to say, this didn't work out. I stayed because this is me acknowledging myself. I wanted to.
I stayed because of what I thought other people would say.
Hmm.
Another divorce. Oh, he's just doing whatever he want to do. Oh, he said that it was of God. Oh, he said this. He said that. Now look at him. And so I stayed and so that I would not prove them right of what they were saying.
That's it.
I didn't want to prove them right.
You're right, Jay.
My first wife, she is my best friend to this very day. She is my best friend. She and I, we can talk about anything. We can talk about when she got married again. I even became friends with her husband. But I had people. My mom was like, "No, Jay, don't marry her because of," and they gave me different situations of why I shouldn't marry her. And I was like, "No," but I was like, "No, I love her. No, I love her. No, I love her." So I stayed as long as I did, no matter what went
Mhm.
on in the relationship that was literally killing me,
Mm.
because I
Mm.
was trying to prove them wrong.
You prove them wrong. Prove a point.
My second wife, man, I moved out of state, got married, started a church, and I'm laying up in the hospital. I went to the hospital, and the doctors looked at me and they said, "We're confused." And I'm like, "Well, what are y'all confused about?" I said, "I woke up, I had a little pain in my heart, but it's gone, da da da, in my chest, it's gone." They said, "No, we're confused because we don't even know how you're talking to us.
Mm.
Your top, your top and bottom number is in the 200s." They said, "We really medically don't know how you are talking to us. We're sending you straight to the ER." The hospital was across the street from my clinic. I said, "Well, I'll just drive over there." They said, "No, we can't even, we're going to have to call the ambulance to take you across the street."
Mm.
All because I found myself in a relationship that was literally killing me because I
Killing.
settled.
Oof.
I settled. If you want to know one of the side effects of settling, is your grave.
Yep. I'm not even gonna go there tonight.
I'm gonna
I'm
look
not
at y'all
gonna go
straight in the eyes. If you want to know a side effect of you settling, it's your grave.
there. Mm.
I know for a fact. They said, "Jason, when you go to sleep, your blood pressure does this. It goes straight down to normal. The second your eyes open, the alarms go off at the nursing station." The reason why we settle, or the side effect of why we settle, can be harm, not only to, we said mentally earlier, but
Detrimental to your life.
physically, it can
Yeah,
physically kill you.
it can physically kill you. And I'm gonna say this: if you're watching this and you're thinking, "I see myself in this conversation. So what do I do now?" First step is acknowledge that maybe you've made the wrong decision. Maybe you need to make some changes in your life. Maybe you need to break free, but you can't change it until you admit that you've settled on something in your life.
Now,
You can't change it. Go ahead,
let,
Jay.
let me let, let me say this. Let me say this, because I know us. I know us
Mm-hmm.
people. We will sit and listen to a conversation like this and say, "Oh, I must have settled." In reality, you just may be the problem.
That's it.
Let me just be real clear with you. Sometimes you have to admit, I am the problem.
No problem.
I
It's
didn't settle. I brought somebody into my foolishness.
yeah. Especially if
I
all of
I
your
I I
situations are
I,
turning
I
out to be
settled.
the same.
I settled for a person that would coddle my issues and my feelings, and I settled for
Mm-hmm.
them and brought them in, and it only made my life worse. But it's not because I settled for one reason. It's because I was an issue before I even connected with
Got
that.
with the person. Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to be truthful to yourself and say,
You got to be honest. It's me. It's
my
me.
settling I settled because I was stupid, because I was selfish. Don't sit and say, well, that person wasn't good enough. No, that person may have been good enough. You settled. You settled for the wrong reason.
The wrong reasons. You settled because it felt good. It felt good to you. It looked good on you.
Indeed.
But in
Indeed.
actuality, it took a toll on your life. And now you have to deal with the repercussions of settling. So going forward, y'all, because we're going to get ready to wrap this up. We're going to try to do it quickly because we're almost at the hour mark. I just want to say this. When you ponder on this thought and you think about making some changes in your life, make your decision off of, no, I'm not going to. Don't stagnate yourself. Don't ask the wrong questions like, what if I fail? Start beginning to ask yourself, what if I grow? Because staying in some situations can hold you back. Again, back to what I said earlier in the podcast. You're never going to really see God's favor on your life until you get to a place that He wants you in. And He can begin to bless your life and your purpose can be fulfilled. Jason, come on in here, because I need to go ahead, Jason.
So the spot that we're at right now is steps to move forward. Number one, in order to move forward, you cannot move forward until you recognize, and we've said this several times in the show already, I'm the problem. You cannot move forward until you recognize that I made a mistake somewhere down the line.
Yes.
When you say, okay, I'm okay, it's not the other person, because I opened the door for this other person to come in, or this other situation, whether it's job, person, whatever, to come in. I made that choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you get to that point where you say, okay, it was me, your very next question should be, well, how did I make that decision?
How did I make that decision?
How or why in the hell did I allow that person in my life?
Yep.
And this is going to be very hurtful to you.
Yep, it will be. Because
sometimes the question is, because I was lonely.
Because I was lonely, I was needy, I was vulnerable, I was grieving,
all of that.
I was depressed. Yes.
And I settled because of those things. Now, here is where, so one, admitting I made a mistake. That's called accountability. You would never move forward in life unless you accept accountability.
Yep.
Once you accept accountability, you say, well, how did I get here? Which is knowledge, which is I'm figuring out, okay, this is where I was. Here is the next thing. Well, what did I learn from it?
And that's the thing, the lesson you learn from settling will be life changing. It will pivot you to be your authentic self. with no holds barred. I'm telling you, that's the best gift ever from settling.
If you
Becoming
want to
who
know
you're
anything
meant
about
to be.
settling, the best part of settling, or even any life lesson that we went through in life,
Yes.
when you
Yes.
ask, when you ask God, what did I learn from it?
What did I learn?
Here's why you want to ask that question. And I'm going to get real close to the camera to say this. The reason why you ask, what did I learn from it, is so that you won't ever have to repeat it again.
Yeah.
If you
That's
don't
true.
learn the lesson, you will. This is no if, no ands, no buts about it. If you don't learn your lesson, you will repeat it. If you're in the third grade and you don't learn all of the lessons in third grade when you are in third grade, guess what? You're going to have to repeat third grade because you didn't learn the lessons.
Yeah.
So if in order step to move forward, that first, when you say um, um, the accountability stage, yeah, I did this. That's just acknowledging that you was in this race. You ain't even at the starting line yet. You don't get at the starting line until you say, well, what did I learn from this? What
You're
did I
right.
learn from it? And it's at that point that you get to choose either I'm gonna move forward or I'm gonna stand back from the line and do it again.
That's true. And I'm gonna say a few things. I'm gonna say a few things about lessons learned, right? Because for me, what I've learned over the years through situationships, through relationships, through my jobs, what I've learned from settling that's in my pocketbook right now, number one, I've learned that love does not cost my peace. I cannot give up my peace for love. It's not worth it. Second thing I've learned, you can't change someone that doesn't want to change.
They don't want to change.
They don't want to change. I've also learned ignoring the red flags could
Oh
be
my God.
detrimental to your life.
Oh my God.
What you dismiss in the beginning will likely, listen, y'all, what you dismiss in the beginning will likely be the reason you leave in the end. Take that along with you. Red flags, they don't disappear, y'all. They don't disappear. And the longer you sit with it, the brighter they get. The brighter
Here,
the red flags get. Go ahead,
here's
Jay.
one reason. Here's one way, and this maybe have to be another topic some other time. Here's one way that you know you aren't settling.
Mhm.
When a red flag pop up, when you ignore it, you settle.
Yeah,
When you address it,
address it.
we moving forward. We moving
We're
forward.
moving forward. Yeah,
Whenever
we're moving
whenever
forward.
you see something, whenever you see something that you and you could be right or wrong. It could be a trigger from another relationship,
Yep,
but
that's
you
true.
have to bring it up because some things are triggers, other things are red flags.
Yep, that's true.
I taught that a while ago. We ain't gonna get into that tonight. Some things are triggers, other things are red flags. But when you address what you don't like, that means you did not settle or you're not settling.
Yeah.
I'm going to address it head on. Go ahead.
Um, I talked about the red flags. Let me go back to my notes. Oh, yes. Also, this one here, y'all. Take this one. put it along. Right? Put this on a piece of paper or something. Your self-worth dictates what you accept. The lower your self-esteem, the more you're going to tolerate. Once I began
The
to
higher
realize
your
my worth,
self-esteem,
what you
the
say,
higher
Jay?
your self-esteem, you said the lower your self-esteem, the more you tolerate.
Yes,
On the flip side, the higher your self-esteem, the less
the
you would
less
tolerate.
you'll tolerate. Yes, yes. And again, once I start to realize my self-worth and I stop settling, I stopped settling with anything that no longer aligned with my life. I also realized that love without respect isn't enough.
Mm,
You can't
my
love
God,
me and you don't respect me.
my God.
Somewhere along the line, that relationship is going to always be unstable because you don't respect me. And because you don't respect me, that's going to lead to me resenting you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Also, I realized, Jason, the right relationship, it won't require you to shrink yourself down. It does not require you to downplay who you are. It does
Let
not
me
make you silence your voice. Go ahead.
let, let me share this with you all because I had to deal with this. There and I pray that people that are listening to this podcast will hear this. When you are in any relationship, whether it's um love relationship, work relationship, whatever the case may be,
Hmm. Hmm.
a real relationship would challenge you to be better.
Yes,
A bad relationship would try to minimize you becoming better
you're becoming better.
because there are people in your lives that will come in your lives that will minimize you and treat you a certain way and your peace is affected, da 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 da. But then there are other people that's going to come in your life that's going to rub you to make you better.
Yeah,
They're not going to settle for you they're not going to settle for you settling. Ah, that's a different topic right there.
and
They're
let me
not
tell you
going to,
something. That person can be a total stranger.
a total stranger.
A
They
total
see
stranger
something good in you.
in you.
But whenever you find a person that God allows to be in your life that recognize that you settled,
Hmm.
but they're in your life to stop you from settling.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was a writer. I'm a very creative type of person. And if I can speak it, I'm just gonna I'm from entertainment wise, radio, television, plays, whatever. I'm good, but I never thought I was good at writing.
Mm.
And so recently I've been challenged to write. And I didn't think I was good at it because I had settled in my own heart, in my own
Mm.
spirit. I'm not a writer. I'll do other people projects. These ideas pop in my head, and I would give my ideas to somebody else and let them do it because I had settled within myself that I'm not a good writer. Now I sit at this today. I was sitting at my computer writing this screenplay thing for a movie, and the stuff is just flowing out of me
Hmm.
because I was challenged not to settle on my own beliefs. The bottom
That's
line,
good.
we settle based on our beliefs. And again,
That's
we
good.
said from the beginning, this settling happens over different topics. It
Yes, it
affects
does.
different areas of our lives. I settled in my spirit that I wasn't a good writer and was cool with it. But these ideas keep coming to me, keep coming to me, keep coming to me, keep coming. And I'll tell that person, I'll tell that person, and I'll tell that person, or I'll just put it out. Next thing I know, that idea that I put out, they done took it and ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
All because I settled that I wasn't a good person, a good writer.
Mm, that's good. The acknowledgement of what you knew or what you thought you knew.
The foundation of why we settle is based on of what we think about ourselves.
What we think about
The
it.
foundation
Absolutely.
of us settling is founded and
Yeah,
built on how we think about ourselves.
that's so true. Oh, child, this is a lot to unpack tonight. I'm gonna make this last point of what I learned, and then I'm gonna let Jason um have his closing remarks, and I'm gonna have my closing remarks, and we're gonna get on up out of here. My last what I learned, and we're heavy on self-love over here. We're heavy on self-care over here. Walking away is an act of self-love. Leaving anything, walking away from anything that does not serve you purpose. Choosing yourself is not failure. That's all I got, Jay. Come on, give your closing remarks, and then I'm gonna come on in with my closing and good job.
My closing remarks is this. As we end this month of March, which is Women's
Mm,
Month, I want to normally what if you look on social media or wherever, go to church, they acknowledge the people that are in high leadership. They give the flowers to them, all da da da. I want to at this moment acknowledge those that aren't in leadership and not that's in the light. I want to acknowledge the women that from a
mm,
distance have had to support those people that were in leadership. I want
mm,
to acknowledge all the ladies. Hey dear, all of the ladies that have been doing what they need to do to live a good life, a better life. I want to acknowledge you and I want to say thank you for being our mother, grandmother,
mm.
aunts, sisters.
Okay.
I want to thank you from a male point of view. I want to say thank you because the male species would have, in many cases, destroyed itself had it not been for the women in our lives. So I want to personally say thank you on this last day of March, which is Women's Month. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Um, I'm going to put this. I told y'all last time I was going to start doing this. Anyone who's in need of grief therapy, grief counseling, there's a 13-week Christian program called Grief Share. I'm putting it in the caption. The number is on there. You can give them a call. They have them all over the country. Wherever you are, you can get to Grief Share. Just email them, call them, reach out. There's help for you. You are not alone. Also, anyone that's thinking about suicide, battling depression, I'm leaving this number here for you as well. Reach out, get some help, y'all. Asking for help, it's not how can I say this? It's not a letdown. Asking for help is actually God's gift to you to make you a better person. So walk along your journey. There's people out there that can help you navigate what you're going through. I'm kind of messed up right now with this subject we've talked about. So I'm all over the place, but I will leave you with this tonight. If you're feeling the weight of settling, remember, it's never too late to choose differently. I woke up with this last night and it's just been lingering in my head. You don't have to grieve a life that you still have power to change. You deserve all. I think I just cut off. I'm gonna run that back because I just cut off. I'm gonna say that again. You do not have to grieve a life that you still have power to change. You deserve all of the joy. You deserve all of the peace. You deserve more than just enough. Bare minimum is non-negotiable. As I always close my show, I say, if there is no love, there will be no grief. Consider yourself blessed. And as always, healing is possible and hope awaits. Thank you for tuning in tonight to our March episode of Unwrapping the Gift of Grief. If this episode spoke to you, send me a message, share it on YouTube, Facebook, IG. I'm going to put my new website link in the captions when we're done. Share it with somebody who needs it, y'all. Again, you are not alone. There is hope. There is healing on the other side. Until next time, take care of your heart, take care of yourself, and never settle for less than you deserve. I'm Crystal, your host of Unwrapping the Gift of Grief. That's Jason, my good friend. I love you, friend. Thank you for always stepping in for me. I appreciate
I love you back.
you. And we're off. Have a good night, y'all. Be blessed.
Have a good night.
Thank you for joining our conversation tonight and for diving deep into the journey with Crystal. Remember, healing, it is a journey and you're not alone. So, if these talks resonate with you, share, subscribe, and connect on all platforms. Together, we can unwrap the gift of grief. Until next time, Crystal is here for you. Find this podcast on all streaming platforms. Don't forget, this podcast is brought to you by Countess D. Pearl LLC Productions.